Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my reaction to episode 3 of season 2 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Sea of Monsters. We are getting ready to board the Princess Andromeda. I have a beautiful bowl filled with blue cookies that I made. I got overzealous and made them really big. Let me show you the roundest of them all, just so you can see. And I love the effect that it got because I added blue color to it, and after being baked, it has like this mossy green vibe to it, but then when you bite into it, it's sea blue and it's delicious. Oh my god, I'm a genius. It's really beautiful and I'm hyped to eat it while we watch this show. Hopefully, I don't get crumbs stuck in my throat just as I'm about to speak. Cheers, let's get started. Let's go. Also, just so you know, while I was baking these cookies, all I could think of was May Castellan, and it broke my heart, but we are still here. I'm definitely going to make these cookies again and probably add chocolate at the bottom of the cookies so they look burnt for when we get to season 5. Let's munch on some cookies and watch what May Castellan's son has in store for us. Aboard the Princess Andromeda, sails ahoy! I love that we're getting Clarice's POV of getting the quest. Ooh. Let's go. See, this is honestly one of the biggest things that I like about the show is that we are getting to explore and flesh out a bit more of the other characters as opposed to just Percy's POV and what he's going through. This is so much fun. I love it. Let's go.
I'm Clarice, daughter of...
Not her immediately defiling the oracle's body and getting rid of her. Amazing battle reflexes shows that you're ready for the quest, but oh my god. At least with Percy, he's like, you know what? Never mind. I'ma just squeaky away from here. Clarice is like, I'ma show you why I am the daughter of Ares. Kachak! Fair. I love it. I would love if the prophecy is being read from Percy's body and through Percy's voice, because oh my god, knowing what her prophecy is, that just is going to be so beautiful but also heart shattering, because it's quite literally like you're going to fail. And she's going to be like, oh, okay, I'ma punch Percy after I get out of here, but also, oh, the layers upon layers it would be. Ooh, mwah. Show us Percy. Or she's probably going to see herself, but also, or her dad. Oh, if it is from Ares' voice, oh, that would be dope as hell. I love it. So many ways this could go, because if it is Percy, it's her nemesis being like, you're going to fail. If it is her dad, it's going to be, you're going to fail and bring dishonor on my name. If it is Clarice, it is going to be, oh, so by the way, you're gonna fail. Like, it's going to be that self-depreciating, self-hate voice. Ooh. Any three or all three? Do you see the vision?
You shall sail the iron ship with warriors of bone. You shall find what you seek and make it your own. But despair for your life, entombed within stone, and fail.
Percy Jackson and Annabeth Chase will pay for deserting camp in our time of need.
I love it. Oh my god, that was perfect. I just love the horror of hearing something like this and going through this, and I love Clarice being shown that she's going through this, and I love the after effects of having met the oracle on Clarice, because when it was Percy, his goal was to save his mom. So even though he was freaked out, he was also like, whatever. I mean, I'm still gonna try my best to save my mom, right? With Clarice, this is all about honor. This is all about, I gotta do this to save camp. It's about building her own respect within the camp. Not just as a bully, but also as the savior of the camp. And the betrayal she must be feeling right now, with the fact that Annabeth has deserted her. But also on top of that, it's like the betrayal is not even settling in, mostly because of the fact that she's still reeling from her experience with the oracle. Ooh, the direction, the acting in this episode, in this entire season. Ooh, let's go.
They say there's something in the water that got them all acting so crazy. Tell me why they even bother.
Don't tell me.
That's your idea?
I trust Chiron, but mostly I trust you. If you see me doing something that leans in a bad direction, You stop me with a code word.
The way I love everything about this conversation, you guys have no idea. I am rereading the Percy Jackson books, right? And from an adult's perspective, there are so many times that Percy leans into the dark Percy side of things, even before we reach House of Hades. And it's chaotic. The amount of times that I missed the signs that Percy could go so bad so quickly with just a tiny nudge, he could go into the bad side. Not from the sense of being disloyal, but just because of the rage and the anger that he was going through. But Percy being like, okay, you know what? I know you know something about me. I know you're not supposed to tell me. I know you tried hard enough to the point that you betrayed me to ensure that I wouldn't come on this quest. Be my moral compass. Stop me with a code word. Ooh, that's smart. I love it. I love it. Okay, I love it. This show is giving me everything that the books gave me, plus some more, which is a lot. Because I usually do not like adaptations. I know they are always screwing up something. They're leaving behind big plot points. And it's just sad sometimes to see adaptations. And coming into season 2, I was kind of ready to be like, just a tad bit disappointed, to be completely honest. But this is giving me so much more. I love it. There are genuine moments when I'm rereading the book and I'm posting videos about it and stuff. And it's like, oh, I actually prefer the show over the book, which is kind of crazy. That means a lot to me as a book reader. So I am actively loving the show right now. Oh my god, I love it. I love it. Everyone is bringing their A game. Watch it be used immediately within this episode. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was thinking, Boone. You say Boone, I back off.
So did she ditch Chris thinking that if Annabeth betrayed her, Chris would too? Ooh, because I genuinely thought Chris would be coming along on this quest and then he would betray her midway through. This is smart, I would say.
Anyway, soldier, it's your time to shine. I can't do more for you without breaking the rules, and I'm in the doghouse as it is.
On my honor, I won't let you down.
Good. Because you know what'll happen to you if you fail.
I was honestly like, is Ares going to be a good dad? This is a gift for you. I mean, yes, he gives her a gift in the books as well, yes. Ha ha ha. But also the second she was like, I'll bring honor to you, dad. And then it's like, well, you know what will happen if you fail? That was so ominous. No kid needs to hear that from their parent. Oh my god. Percy is right to hate this dude on sight.
This little girl here is your new commander. This is her first quest. Now, her training is best in class, but in the field, she is woefully inexperienced. You will make sure that she succeeds, because if you don't, I will personally grind your bones to dust, then sweep that dust into a tiny little baggie and chuck that sucker into the pit of Tartarus. All yours.
The fact that he could have worded that so much better so that they are looking up to Clarice as opposed to feeling like, you know what, we gotta do whatever we gotta do to ensure that she succeeds. And so at times that might lead to them not even listening to her if they are like, oh, she might not succeed if she does this. Like, he could have worded that so much better. He was so condescending in that speech. I hate it. You, man, do better. I don't know what Aphrodite sees in this guy. This guy? Are you sure? Queen, come on. Do you see the irony and the parallel of the fact that Clarice has to deal with deadbeats essentially on an iron ship with zero entertainment, and Percy and Annabeth and Tyson are in a space where there's dance and there's music and like really good music, like music that makes me go, yeah, baby, I'll talk to you. But the irony of all of this is the fact that Clarice was right, and what Percy and Annabeth, yes, means to an end. They only care about the goal, not the journey. At the end of it all, they were still wrong. But Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson are enjoying life and dealing with zero consequences, whereas Clarice is going through shit. She's just like, oh my gosh. I love the cuts also. That's so well directed and edited. Ooh, I love it.
Allison Sims, is that you?
Like you had the odds on Grover?
What?
We saw her in a nightmare.
She's leading us into a trap.
You know what would have been smarter was if Percy just shush and then told Annabeth in secret that, hey, she's leading us into a trap. Like, ooh, like, yes, confirm your sources. You never know. Hurrah to that. But that would have also been cool because she was very subtle with it. Allison was like, hey, I graduated from camp. I have a few friends. They are demigods. And it would have been really cool if you tossed Percy off of the boat. You know, just like, eat him off the tower. I don't love anybody. That's my power. I've never been more right or wrong than this particular situation.
Hey guys, ready to go.
Tyson's like, I just finished packing. Now is not the time to get stuff from the gift shop, you guys. Oh my god. Do these kids not understand the importance of urgency? You asked me to be urgent. I am being urgent. What do you want me to do? Pack this stuff too? Okay, fine. You and Annabeth go off and have your conversations about how you want to leave me behind while I pack this stuff too. Are you happy now? Are you happy?
This is why Hermes sent me to this ship. Luke is here. This is the mark of Kronos.
My only question is, did Annabeth already see this the first time around and she never recognized it? Because yes, the TV was on when they came in and she was like, switch it off. But then what made her go, you know what, let me switch it on and see what's on the TV right now? Because that was a random decision. It would have been cooler if they walk into the room and then as they are figuring out that, oh, this is the mark of Kronos and all of that jazz, they hear the mist and they're like, huh? Did someone say the mist? What's happening? Go and look at the TV. And then the slideshow starts on. That would have been cooler than Annabeth being like, let me see what's on the TV right now. Also, I don't think people actually graduate from camp. You know what I mean? Because Percy always thought, oh, hey, Camp Half-Blood is where you stay. A lot of people don't reach the age I am at right now. That's why he was so astonished by New Rome and the fact that demigods actually lived longer, graduated, had a full life in front of them, because he had never seen that happen. I don't know why it didn't like raise alarm bells for them, like, hey, by the way, I graduated from camp. Like, what do you mean graduate? I didn't think people could graduate.
This is his ship.
Hermes was like, you know what? Gods never believe in the fact that I do fast delivery. You want Kronos? I got you Kronos. That's how fast I am. Why go through the entire journey when you can reach the end instantly? Fast delivery service? Hermes, that's me.
You shall sail the iron ship with warriors of bone.
Mitch, from Blockbuster.
In what battle didst thou fall?
Oh, Streaming Wars.
Kronos didn't trust his kids, so he ate them. Zeus got him to barf him back up, chopped his dad into pieces with his own scythe.
I see your point. How this could be a problem.
Giving into revenge?
No, the code word thing. You could just say boon to win any argument ever, even if you're wrong.
Hindsight, Percy Jackson, 2020.
When Luke poisoned Thalia's tree, it was like seeing my brother stab my sister in the back.
I don't think Luke can be saved.
And I do. I have to. Luke has good reason to hate the gods. Kronos used that to manipulate him. I want to get him away from Kronos.
So, capture. Instead of kill. I can work with that.
Monsters?
Worse.
What could be worse?
I've been
Percy?
Okay, what's your plan?
Kick down the door. Hi, Luke.
That's your plan.
Yeah, or maybe...
Ever had your ass kicked by a 12-year-old nerd with an inhaler? Supper time, Spanky.
Bye, Luke.
Percy, you can't take him in a fight.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Hello, I didn't know you were still here. I thought they recasted you. I really liked you as an actor. And I'm glad you're back. This begs the question, does Hermes often name his kids Chris? He's like, what's the easiest name to pick? Chris, let's go. Don't have to waste too much brain power on this. Because that would definitely be a reason to revolt against the gods. You couldn't even pick a name for me? From all of these Greek heroes, couldn't pick one single name for me? Look at Poseidon. He at least named his kid Perseus.
Percy?
Relax. He'll be safe here.
Tyson!
Percy!
It won't hurt you!
Boy, how do you know? How do you know they're not going to hurt him? It's not like he's back at camp and there are only bullies that he has to deal with. These are monsters actively trying to hurt you guys. What do you mean they're not going to hurt you? Oh my god, they could definitely hurt him. Oh my god, Percy. Tyson should have yelled boon from there, you know. That would have made Percy be like, oh shit, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna go save my brother now.
Poseidon hasn't shown up because he's already too busy fighting.
Little hero.
I love his sarcophagus because it's like that Japanese technique kintsugi. where you mend broken things with gold in between, and oh, golden age, and Luke thinks that he can mend it into making it something better. Mama like it a lot. Also, Luke, this would be the best time to bring Annabeth over to your side. I don't want Annabeth to betray Percy, I absolutely don't, but from Luke's POV, this would be the best time to do it. Oh, that would be so cool.
So that's why you poisoned Dahlia's tree, to force a quest for the fleece. That's why you destroyed all that's left of your oldest friend.
You didn't know her! Thalia and I were on the run together for 2 years. You were with us for 2 months. You were just a kid. Thalia hated Zeus.
Baby girl, I feel you, but she was such a good person to join your side. And you took the worst direction possible, but I also love the exploration because ooh, oh my god, I remember reading Luke's diary entries and the fact that we are getting a bit more of an exploration of that. Like, hey, you were there for 2 months. I knew her for 2 years. That's a long time before Grover found us and brought us to camp. Ooh, I love it. I love it.
If she knew about the great prophecy, if she knew she had a chance to tear down Olympus, she would have never given up her life. That tree is her curse. She'd be glad to see it fall. This is how the gods divide us, by walling off the truth.
I actually don't want to know.
Because you're smart, or because you're scared.
Can I be both?
Because hitting and training against human campers and other demigods is a great way to protect your humanity, right? Right? Boy, you're just training children of 4 who don't know anything. Their very first experience of belonging is going to be with you, so they are going to trust you. Oh my god, this manipulative bitch. I love him and I hate him. So clever and yet so bad. Oh my gosh. Irrespective of what people say, I do believe in the fact that moving forward with love and kindness is actually really important when nurturing people. I think a lot of times we have gotten to this point where it's like, oh, love is the greatest magic of it all. That sucks, or kindness is dumb and stupid and it gets you killed. I get where these concepts come from, but I also think that's why it's extremely crucial to still move forward with love and kindness and nurture people with love and kindness, because if all you teach them is hate, all they're going to know is hate. And that hate is not just going to be targeted at the world, at other people, at divine beings, but it's also going to be targeted within themselves. And they're going to hate themselves for it every single second. That they are a part of something that they never wanted to be a part of. They are never going to see the miracle of it. The joy that comes from that. Do you guys understand?
We don't really use that word here.
Monsters?
We're all children of the gods. Tyson's the son of Poseidon.
Tyson! You okay?
He gets treated like an outcast just because his mother wasn't human. And he'll be accepted. Not treated like a problem to solve.
That's such a cool narrative and I would fall for it. I'm the kind of person who's like, no, they're not monsters. Just because you can kill them, they're not monsters. We gotta treat them right. Oh, I would fall for it so bad. But the fact is, Annabeth at this point in time can still be like, so you don't really hate the monsters who attacked us all the way to camp? The Cyclops that attacked us and tricked us and almost wanted to eat us? And Luke can very quickly still be like, that's the point of narrative. That's what we want to change. That monsters can be accepted. Ooh, layers upon layers. I am loving the show so much. I genuinely did not think that I would end up falling this much in love with the show. Oh my god. I am so hyped. Let's go.
If a child of the eldest 3 were to join our ranks, that would be a powerful show of loyalty to Kronos. We wouldn't need more recruits. We wouldn't even need the fleets. You could end the war. Tonight. The words are clear.
It's prophecy. The words are never clear.
She's trying to trick you. You think you're so clever.
What you call it? A bomb.
Tyson seeing right through the manipulation. Oh my god, let's go. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Oh my god, I loved it. A bomb, he says. I was worrying about Dark Percy. I never thought about Dark Tyson until this very moment. Oh my god. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna watch. This is so good. This show is so good. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Aren't you tired of losing? What do you owe to yourselves? Because maybe this is a second chance to change how you're seen, to change your fate. You all have that chance right now to become the heroes who found the golden fleece, to take this win and shove it down the throats of everyone who's ever doubted you. When you return to the underworld, it won't be to Asphodel. It won't be to the fields of punishment. You will be exalted in the fields of Elysium.
I love the pep talk, but I do not girl tone it down just a tad bit because you don't know for a fact that they're going to get pushed into the fields of Elysium. But yeah, you know what? Not a problem for now. That's a problem for tomorrow's Clarice. And even at that point in time, it's not going to be like you're going to end up meeting with them unless Ares summons them for the final war. But yeah, until then, ayo, say whatever you gotta say.
Are you sure about these coordinates?
Why? Jackson.
Then why'd you make the bow?
Because you and Annabeth were in trouble. And a real hero stands up for others.
I think he was right.
What?
Percy, I don't know the full prophecy. If Luke's right about anything, it's that you deserve to know the truth about your own fate. The prophecy tells of a child of the eldest three, who upon reaching 16 years of age, will become a powerful weapon.
A weapon?
The hero of the prophecy will decide the fate of Olympus. A single choice that either saves the age of the gods or destroys it.
Chiron thinks I might destroy Olympus. What do you think? You were right. I wish I didn't know.
That was an amazing episode. Oh my god. Okay, no, that was genuinely an amazing episode. Ooh. I don't remember if Annabeth ever tells Percy about the prophecy because I have this memory of Percy taking the prophecy upon himself as opposed to leaving it up to the other kids of the elder gods. He's like, I take on this particular prophecy, I make it about me. Oh no, that's cool and clever, but I don't know how to feel about it. I wish that Annabeth wouldn't have told him the prophecy, to be completely honest. I wish it would have been his choice, and his choice from the get-go has been, don't tell me about it then. Not from the get-go per se, but ever since Annabeth was like, it's scary shit, man. I wish she didn't tell him because he didn't want to know. And I think it was only the thunder rumbling and it potentially either reminding her of Zeus or potentially either reminding her of Thalia made her tell him the prophecy. But I love that extra bit of conflict because now Percy is going to either think, or if he's anything like me, extremely overthink every single choice he makes. That's crazy. Because I genuinely was hoping Percy would go, yeah, well, fate is what I decided to be. But then it was like, oh shit. Now I don't know which choice I am making that is going to bring down the gods. Ooh, I think I would love to see the consequences of Annabeth having told Percy the great prophecy to see how much I like it or hate it. So I gotta wait until the next few episodes until I actually make a decision about whether I like it or not. I am going to see you in my read of We Board the Princess Andromeda whenever I get around to reading this particular chapter, and I will post a vlog and I'll see you in there. Until then, take care. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about this episode. Are you just as hyped as I am? Because this show is not letting up, and I wish and I hope that it doesn't. Because I saw the trailer that they recently posted, and I think we are getting a Battle of the Labyrinth sequence with Percy standing with Camp Half-Blood and Luke bringing in his own demigods, which is going to be crazy. So I cannot wait for this epic show to keep going and keep serving us. I also think Clarice is going to find out about where Percy is and pick him up. I can't wait to see how Clarice finds Percy and finds the right coordinates to Sea of Monsters. Or, honestly, I feel like I wish she had brought Chris along with her, because Chris did overhear Percy and Tantalus talking and Percy telling Tantalus about the coordinates. So I am sure Chris would have known about the coordinates. So he could have course corrected her. She can still call back at camp and see where the Sea of Monsters is, because Percy has it in his cabin. Though I don't think it is right for anyone to go into someone else's cabin. And I don't think Tantalus is going to help her, or Mr. D at that. So I'm really curious to see where she finds Percy, or how she finds out about the right coordinates of the Sea of Monsters. With that, I shall see you in the next episode or in my next reading vlog. Until then, bye bye, tata, take care, like, share, comment, subscribe and all of that jazz. Whee!